Triple G.
With action figures from every age, join us now, turn the page. From the big screen to the small. It's Geek Week, the podcast of the year. Join the fun with laughter and cheer. Toys collecting and tales from the past. Tune in now, the good times will last.
We dive into movies that make us dream, with memories like a childhood theme. TV shows that caught our eyes, let's collect the moments and rise.
Like, share, subscribe, don't miss out. It's Geek Week, the podcast of the year. Join the fun with laughter and cheer. Toys collecting and tales from the past. Tune in now, the good times will last.
Like, share, subscribe, don't miss out.
And Triple G.
Hello. Go on a bit, doesn't it?
Welcome everyone to Geek Week episode 188 with me, Jacob's Toys. Of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell and our friend Triple G Comics is here as well. It's all good. Episode 188. If you're watching live, we're going out across a bunch of different places. So drop your comments wherever you're watching. We'll do our best to put them up on the screen and keep the conversation going. See a lot of people commenting and chatting away already, which is great. Of course, if you are watching on the catch up, like we know a lot of you do, Mr. Sorrell, what do they need to put in the chat?
Use the hashtag catchupcrew.
There we go. There we go. How you doing, gents? Right?
Marvelous. Looking forward to this.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. Me and Sorrell were together this week. We were in person. We were like physically together, which is always good. And we were at the London Toy Fair 2025. And man, have we got some stuff to tell you guys. We got taken into secret rooms and we got phones put away. And oh, it was exciting. It was exciting. But we met with lots of brands as well, which is always good. Always good to kind of meet people face to face as opposed to online and over emails and stuff. So it was just a good day, wasn't it, Sorrell?
It was. I'm still knackered. I'm still recovering. My legs are absolutely dead. I don't move from this chair. Oh, I've stopped. There we go. I don't move from this chair, right? I don't move from this chair like 7 days a week. I just sit here, right? This is all I do, right? I'm a couch potato nerd, right? And then Jacob takes me to London and makes me walk 5 miles around a frigging. And the thing is, right, I didn't plan the meetings very well because I could have looked at a floor map and gone, right, basic fun is here and so is here and so is it. But no, instead I was like one end. Like, oh, slow down, people, I can't keep up. So it was a fun day.
It was like one of those things, wasn't it? It was like one of them like TV shows where it's like, now you need to get to the Aztec zone. And it's like we were like in one meeting, and then we're like, right, we've got like 2 minutes to get to the next meeting.
Mate, I wish we could have had somebody. I wish we could have had somebody just with a camera just filming us walking to each one. So I could sped it up in. So I could have sped it up in post production and done the.
It really was. And then you would kind of get to that part of the hall, and you'd be like, right, we're looking for like N57B. And it's like, okay, it's round here. Like one of us will go this way, one of us go this way, and we're walking past all these really cool brands and all these like new toys and stuff, and like we're getting kind of distracted, and we're like, no, focus. We need to get to this meeting and stuff. So, but it was good. It was good, but so it did make me chuckle when we had one meeting that was like downstairs at like the far end of the hall, and then we're like, right, where's the next one? And it was in the other hall up the stairs at the other side. And we got to this flight of stairs, and it was just like one of these horror films that just kind of went up and up and up and up. We were like, oh, like, but it was good.
The first time you guys have ever formally met then?
Yeah. Wow. First time that we were physically in a room together, which is. Did
you embrace when you first met each other?
We did.
Yeah, of course we did.
Nice.
Do you know what the thing was, right? You'd think that we'd have come away with so much content, so many videos filmed to go out over the next few weeks. Filmed fuck all.
Oh, I know. It was so intense. We were like there was so much going on that it kind of got to the end, and we were like, right, like Sorrel, you wanted to get off to King's Cross stuff and that as well. I had to get back as well. And there wasn't any time for us to even film stuff together, was there? Like it was constantly on the go.
Do you want to know the fun part? I got all the way back to King's Cross, and because of that stupid Storm Eowyn from Lord of the Rings, Storm Eowyn, because of that, right? The Harry Potter store closed at 6 p.m.
Oh no!
I didn't even get to go to Potter. I didn't even get to see any Potter stuff. So, Lynn, I got home to my wife. Like, oh, did you buy me chocolate frog? Nope.
Have you done the studio tour down in London?
Yeah, I've done that about 3 or 4 times. I love it. It's ace.
Yeah.
For all the different things. The Halloween one's the best.
I got to give one big shout out though. We got to do a big shout out first of all though, because we did actually see a few people throughout the day as well, which was really nice, and kind of like people going, "Hey, you know, guy, Geek Week," and all this kind of, which was really really cool. But have to give a massive shout out to Virtual Dave 26 because he was the first person to speak to us both in person together. So I don't think he realised it at the time, but he was the first person to ever meet the pair of us in person together. Yeah.
And recognize us from the podcast, not from YouTube. He recognized us as a pair from the podcast,
which was really
that was quite cool.
Really cool. But yeah, it's really cool. So for anyone that doesn't know, London Toy Fair is basically like a big trade show. So you have, if you've ever been to the Olympia in Kensington Olympia, they do like wedding trade shows and tradesman trade shows. Like, it's the place for trade shows. And obviously the Toy Fair is essentially a trade show. So the whole building is kind of laid out with like booths. So they've all got kind of like little booths. And then there's just stuff on show. And a lot of them you can only get into by appointment. Like you can only actually go to these places by appointment. So like Bandai was there, for example, and they had a closed booth. So no one could go in. And it's really random because you could see into it from the balcony, but it was a closed booth. So there was no one working it. There was no way into it. It was like, you know,
it was pointless.
Would have had
I don't understand the concept.
Doesn't make sense. But then a lot of the bigger ones, so things like Funko were there, Funko Mondo were there, and you could only go in by appointment. And it's all very kind of, there's like a red rope in front of their kind of door. And each of these booths have like a reception, don't they? They have like a table with somebody with like an appointment kind of schedule. And you can kind of see what's in the room, but you can't really get to it. And some of them as well are quite, you know, they have like a little window, so as you walk past you can kind of peer through the window, but you can only get in through appointment. So we were really lucky that we got some really good appointments and saw some really good stuff, didn't we, Sorrel?
Yeah. So we got are we going straight into that, or are we going to do some other stuff first, or are we going straight in on that one?
Just before, did they literally take your cameras and stuff off you and tell you what you can and can't photograph or all that kind of jazz?
From what I've read and what I've heard, it depended on who you were. I've built up quite a good rep with a lot of these companies over the years. I've worked with some of them for a long time when they were on smaller brands, and they've worked their way, because it's like PR companies, and they've worked their way up to like the bigger brands now, so to speak. So I've been working with some of these people for a long time. So they're kind of like, didn't take our phones off us, but we likewise we were told not to take them out. And I assume that if we had have done, they'd have just taken us out of the room and told us to leave. But no, we were respectful. We want to be, you know, we want to work with these people going forward. So we were like, no, we'll behave. There was there's like the rooms, like a big horseshoe shape, and you could see some of the really cool stuff. Like there's another series of the Terrified coming out that I reviewed. There's a boatload more of these silly pirate things coming out. There was like loads of stuff like Skibbity. I got to see all of the Skibbity Toilet Series 2 stuff.
Well, so after you talked about that last week, we went out for dinner as a family, and I asked my two kids over in Italian, what's this Skibbity? And they both just shook their heads at us and said, Dad, you're so sad. And then started telling us all about, they showed us the weird head coming out of the toilet meme thing.
Toilet.
That's the one. Yeah, I didn't understand it. Even after they explained it to us, I didn't know what the hell was going on. So
this is a toilet. I don't think Skibbity Toilet's going to go away anytime soon. After I saw all the products that they've got coming, I think they're really going to kind of milk this one for as much as they can. But there is tons.
The fact that I get like 80,000 views a video is, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not going away. People love this thing.
But no, it is. I mean, I think the thing is if we had filmed or photographed particular things, it would have been very obvious where that had come from. So the whole kind of leaked picture, it would have been very obvious that it had come from us, because we were given that grace where they didn't kind of check that we weren't filming. They were just like, come with us, like, that's fine.
while we were there, one of the other booths, somebody had taken a photo secretly of the new Stretch Armstrong. I didn't obviously know that was under secrecy because I wasn't there the day before, and I shared this guy's post. And whilst I was there, she was like, "Where did that photo come from?" I was like, "Oh, oops." And she's so as I was stood there with her, I like removed the post. I like showed her, I removed it. I like, "Oops, sorry." But I had no idea. But yeah, some people do try and leak stuff, so it's crazy.
Cool. Fuzzy's asking in the chat if they had some of the new Masters of the Universe Thundercats crossovers. You guys seen those?
You know what?
Bandai was a closed booth, and so was like Mattel wasn't there, but the distributor for Mattel would have been Bandai, I think, for the UK, and they were a closed booth, so we couldn't get anywhere near.
No, I shared some pictures of this on the Geek Week website, on the blog part of the website, literally while I was at Toy Fair. So I didn't see any of these in hand. It would have been great to have seen it, but they are a cool looking line. I'm not gonna lie. I'm quite intrigued by where what these are going to do. I really like the Cringer kind of.
That's the only one that really jumped out at me. I have to say, the Cringer. Yeah.
I think that's going to be quite a good line. But yeah, I mean, I think we jump into the Toy Fair stuff straight away, and we kind of talk through some of that, and then
let's just jump into the good one. So we were at a particular booth, and they happened to be the distributor for Playmates in the UK, and basically we went into they were showing us like the other stuff, and then she went, right, she said, "You guys phones away?" Yeah, we're like, yeah. She said, "You can't take any photos, no videos," and there was a little locked door.
We'll come back and look at all this stuff in a minute. You're gonna want to see what's behind this door, and it's like, oh, okay.
And she like secretly, like slyly, very opened this door. We kind of slinked in. The door was closed behind us, very scary, and didn't know if we were coming back out. And then we turned around, and the entire line of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are staring at us.
Oh, the new ones that we talked about last week. Yeah.
But it's some of it was just pictures in boxes because they're not even made yet. That's how new this thing is, right? And
I'm going to say, I reckon off the top of my head, there was 30 products
easily
in front of us.
Yeah, and just to say, we can't really say much because we are completely sworn to secrecy. NDAs have been signed. If we say a single dicky bird, we will be sued to high hell. So it's not worth it. So we can say
there's a few bits we can say. Like I think that
be careful because this is about to go. This is going to go around the internet like wildfire over the next few days. People are going to share this, right, and clip it. So choose words carefully.
Okay, so the line is called Power Rangers Reignition, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we had a few theories about this, didn't we? We talked about what kind of reignition might mean. I think it's safe, and I'm quite happy to be the one that says this, but I think it's safe to say that it is not a continuation of the Lightning collection. No.
It's nothing to do with Hasbro, full stop. This is new. This is completely a new line. This is something completely fresh.
Yeah. If you're a Power Rangers fan, then this is something new. This is something new. But I'm choosing my words.
Yeah, no, it's really awkward.
You just ruffle through my papers here.
We were basically told it's that we can say that we've seen it. We have seen it. We can give our honest opinions, and I think it looks awesome. I am very excited to see where this goes. Yep. We can't say what characters are there. We can't really say what products are there, but we can say that there was a lot on offer. There was a lot of cool stuff, and if you grew up in the 90s, then this is gonna be amazing for you. The Wave one that they have chosen, it's amazing, and they've re-syndicated the show, haven't they? She said they remastered the show, so the show is going to get re-syndicated out again, the original Power Rangers. So that should give you an indication. Yeah,
anyone that's any of the kids that are kind of watching the original series now, they're giving them that remastered version, so it's up to date with more modern stuff that's on telly. So it doesn't look as out of touch.
So
cool.
So as a non-Power Rangers person, but as someone that appreciates a nice looking action figure and stuff like that, is there anything here for me to be excited about? Am I going to appreciate the designs and things like that of the figures themselves?
Let me say that the whole feel of Toy Fair was nostalgic.
Okay, good.
They are relying. There's a few companies out there that are literally doing nothing but rejiggerating things we had as kids. So the Basic Fun brand, we saw them, and They look after Care Bears, My Little Pony, Light Bright, Stretch Armstrong, all their brands, and Mad Balls. They look after all that stuff, and it's literally all things we've had growing up, and they're bringing them back for kids of a new generation.
Okay.
And we got to see Mad Balls. We got to see the whole line of Mad Balls. That isn't Under Secret. We can talk about that. There's a whole line of Mad Balls coming, and it looks awesome.
And hold them.
We held them.
Well, I had balls in my hand at Toy Fair. There's your voice clip. Right?
We held lots of balls.
There were lots of balls. Mad Balls. What we can say is that there is. It's very. Let's go through some of the brands. We'll get back to Power Rangers, but Mad Balls.
No, we won't get back to Power Rangers. That's all we can say on Power Rangers. We will not get back to Power Rangers.
Mad Balls is very nostalgic. So it's right back to where it was in the 80s. I think 80, 86, 84, something like that. They've got the similar designs. They are doing Joby One said the ball juggle hand motion is wild. But yeah, they've got very retro, very nostalgic designs. They're doing a handful of different sizes. So you're getting the kind of standard kind of baseball sized one. You're getting slime bag ones as well, which are obviously a bit smaller. You're getting ones that are coming in slime and everything. The Care Bears that they are doing there, they're literally off the shelves of the 80s. They're in the same packaging, they're the same designs, but then at the same token, they're doing like new designs. There's a lot of crossovers with the Care Bear line as well. Like you would have seen on both of mine and SuperSorrell's reels. There's a really, really cool kind of black and white retro Universal Monsters line that just looks fantastic. I've got this one. I bought this one recently. This is the Creature of the Black Lagoon Care Bear. And they're releasing basically all these lines because they've got all the other characters on the back. There's like a Bride of Frankenstein, there's Dracula, there's the mummy, and there's the mummy as well. And you can basically get this whole line now in black and white. It's to be in keeping with the original movies. Yeah, and I think that's a really cool idea. I'm really looking forward to that launching. Because I'm hoping that means Funko are going to re-release them in black and white as well. Because obviously I've got the Care Bears up here. There they are. And I'm not sure if Jacob's excited, but I am very excited to be working with Care Bears. And the fact that, may I just say, today I got something very cool happen. Did you see my reel? Did you see me get very excited?
No.
Care Bears followed me back on Instagram.
Nice. Life goals.
I want to be a Care Bear.
But that particular store was really retro. So we're talking Fisher Price toys in the retro boxes. We're talking Light Brights, both the original looking ones, but also like crossovers with Stranger Things and things like that. Because obviously Light Brights and all those kind of 80s toys feature heavily in Stranger Things as well. So
I don't think I'm familiar with Light Brights. Remind us what Light Brights are.
It's essentially like a light box with loads of little holes, and you've got they come out in the early 80s, and they came out with there we go, and they were like little kind of clear LED looking kind of bulbs, and you'd put them in, and then it would create pictures. They were a massive thing for kids in the 80s. You would lose all of the little bullet things, like lose
Light
them.
Bright was a lot bigger than this though back in the day. There are bigger ones as well, but this is like the travel size one, isn't it? Because this one's like
that one's passed me by completely. And I mean, I was a kid of the 80s, so I don't remember them at all.
I think it was more aimed at girls, to be fair.
It was.
I think it was more of a girly thing. But Stretch Armstrong as well. Again, can't divulge too much information, but they're doing they're doing the original Stretch Armstrong, and they've reinvented him as well for the newer generation. It looks like Johnny Bravo. It looks like Johnny Bravo. Which is
but they're also doing a crossover line. We can't say which ones yet because we were told not to, but they are going to be making Stretch other characters from galaxies far, far away and from comic books. So
nice.
There we go. That's read between the lines. That was really cool. That was a really cool stand. I got really excited by the Jada Toys Street Fighter.
Before we move on from basic fun, they did say, do you remember a little while ago, My Little Pony did the Stranger Things crossover? Yeah. And they released the Upside Down pony or something. It's called the Upside Down, but it was like in the dark blue colors and stuff. Well, they're bringing that back, and we're going to be seeing more crossover between the My Little Pony brand. I think from the sounds of it, they're wanting to try and rival Tubbs. You know what Tubbs is? The little ducks that I've been used on. So it sounds like the My Little Ponies be like the Tubbs and be kind of like pop vinyl. They want to have crossovers and characters based upon these based on the My Little Ponies, which I think is a good idea because it'll rival the likes of Tubbs and pop vinyl and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was reading too much between the lines, but it sounded to me like we're going to see My Little Pony featured again in Stranger Things. The way that they were talking about products coming out and the new series of Stranger Things, that it was talking about crossing in and crossing over and stuff.
There was sort of mentioned the series and then the thing, but again, I can't be much of a thing at this point because I will admit I was too busy with the Care Bears in the corner of the room, just picking them up, and the fact that they had chibi ones, they had the little cute Japanese looking ones. Oh, I need all of them.
Sorrel likes his Care Bears, but that was cool. I enjoyed it. There was something really nostalgic about just seeing like 100 Care Bears, like a wall of like 100 Care Bears. It was just very cool.
I don't have any Care Bears in my collection. You know, I like to go back and pick up kind of vintage stuff. So Care Bears is something I did collect when I was younger, but I haven't got any of the
I think everybody of the 80s at some point had a Care Bear, whether you're a boy or girl or whatever. Everybody had a Care Bear.
I've always been a big fan of Grumpy Bear. Grumpy Bear is my bear, right? He's the Frankenstein bear, he's Grumpy Bear. So I collect the Grumpy Bear, the blue one. He's my boy. He's my boy.
Yeah. Well, they gave us those, the little one that Sorrel just showed you there. They gave us a handful of those as kind of like freebies to take away. Wow. And my youngest daughter eyed them up as soon as I walked home. She eyed them up and I was like, Daddy, can I have the Care Bears? And I was like, how can I say no? And she loves them, like absolutely loves them now. So I'm like, you know what? Oh, and those things as well. My youngest daughter is obsessed with those. They are
I like how you're saying your daughter, like, I'm a grown-ass man and I'm like, I've got cute Tito's.
But they're essentially like blind bag cuddly toys. Like
the blind bag burrito cuddly toys, the burritos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're wrapped up in like wrapped up like a burrito.
I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't know what that is.
No, that was a very fun store. But I do want to get onto Street Fighter. So getting over to the Jada side of it, they had all their die cast, all their crossovers. There was some really cool new die casts. If you're a die cast,
we can't say what they are.
But Jada Toys obviously started as a die-cast company anyway, so they're still very strong in their roots of die-cast. And you know, previously we've seen a lot of crossovers, we've seen a lot of kind of different franchises where they've kind of released various different vehicles and stuff. And Fast and the Furious, they've done a whole bunch of pink slips and all that kind of stuff. And they are sticking with the Fast and Furious stuff. They're carrying on with what they're doing there. But then on display were, I think 4, I think it was in total I counted.
What, the Street Fighters?
No, the crossover diecast.
Of which ones? I'm confused now.
The diecast at Jada, they were crossovers.
The vehicles?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they had quite a few.
So there was about 5 that are going to be announced, but I was kind of like, I want that.
And some of the RCs that they've got coming out.
Yeah, the RCs. But then the Street Fighter, there was nothing on display that we haven't seen.
Yeah, we couldn't not talk about.
Okay.
So you know, so I can't. You know, it's not that we can't discuss them. But one thing that really got me was that we saw Cammy, DJ, and Ken. They were there in their box, looking fantastic. Cammy looks even better, and Ken as well actually looks even, and DJ. All 3 of them look even better than I think the product shots show them to be.
Yeah, they do.
But then on top of that, they also had Blanca, Sagat, and Vega, wasn't it? They were the other 3, and Blanca and Sagat are in bigger boxes.
They are. The big chunky guys, aren't they?
I was so excited. I was like, yeah, which ones can I take? Which ones am I allowed to take home? But the Street Fighter line just looks epic. And the fact that Blanca and Sagat, I'm glad that they've done it with Sagat, because obviously in the game he was taller, wasn't he? He was a bigger character. Blanca, I don't remember being that much bigger, but
he was small and chunky, wasn't he? He was about the same size and width of Honda, though. It was the same as almost like Honda.
Yeah,
so Blanca, the kind of the hulky like looking one.
Yeah,
with the
green one with yeah. So they've made him into more of a beast, but
he's all hunched up like a monster in the box, which looks awesome.
It works. It really works. It looks wicked. Like it really does. And so I think the Jada toys. I was just disappointed there wasn't anything there that we hadn't seen from Jada. Like we haven't.
It's because they've shown off every single one of them so far, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, Carl, sorry, you've pointed out. Guile, not Ken. Ken we had way back in the first.
Guile can be DJ.
Guile can be DJ. Yeah. Sorry, Carl. Thank you very much for pointing that out. You know, I'm not perfect. I don't try to pretend to be.
But while Jacob was too busy with the Street Fighter geeking out in his little corner, I was over with the Scooby-Doo because they had 3 of the new Scooby-Doo ones in there as well. We had them in hand and they look amazing. One thing to say, and we can say because they've obviously been announced, the monster figures that we're getting, because I've just seen the same 3 that's been announced already. There was nothing new there, but the monsters have got their unmasked heads as well. So you can have them, you can do the whole, you can have them, all roped up with the mystery game. Yeah, you can do that moment, which is awesome. And one of the heads is like a very Vincent Price looking head as well, which is very cool. Oh, it does look like they've just done math Vincent Price. It looks ace.
Who's doing them?
That's Jada. Jada, it's the same from the same developers that are doing Street Fighter. They're doing Scooby-Doo.
So they're going to be good quality figures. They'll be very good.
Super articulated. They're just like a Marvel Legend. It's exactly the same style box. It just looks like a Marvel Legend, like a Jada Toys Street Fighter figure. It looks it's the same level and scale.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. But no, I mean, to be honest, the Scooby-Doo again was one of these cartoons that as a kid I absolutely loved it. And then I didn't really have much to do with it after being a kid. But it's always kind of held a place for me. But seeing these figures, I'm like, you know what? That would tick a nostalgic box on my shelf.
One thing I want to say, though, is Jada, because of their licensing and because of how they do stuff, they do have the rights to Fred Flintstone and to Barney Rubble because they did the Fruity Pebbles. They did the cereal mascots. And in America, your Fruity Pebbles in America is Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble. So they have the rights for Flintstones as well. Yeah. So I can only assume once Scooby-Doo's done, they might revisit because they've already got the molds for them too. It would make sense to re-release them two with a few accessories and then do Wilma and
Betty.
Wilma and Betty.
I can't remember seeing any Flintstone figures for a long time. I can't remember seeing.
Like I say, Jada did 2 as a part of their cereal mascot, so you could get like Count Chocula, Boo Berry, Frankenberry, and then they did the Fruity Pebbles, Cheeto the Cheetah, and there was another one. There were 6, but they did like all the mascots.
Yeah,
and they were very hard. They were very hard to come by over here. You kind of had to get them from like props and replicas imported and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, Jada Toys, the Jada Toys section of the booth, like they are going from strength to strength. They really are. Like there's no, and I think that what I really like about Jada as well from a UK perspective is that the same as the Jack specific stuff, you can pick it up in a store. Like you can get it on Amazon, you can walk into a Smith's and you can pick it up. And I think that does make a massive difference for collectors that, yes, it's great that we have these, we have all these kind of online retailers and we have people that obviously we can pre-order stuff with and stuff, but nothing beats walking into a store and actually grabbing something and picking it up. And seeing these Street Fighters and these Scooby-Doos on the shelf and being able to pick them up, look at them and actually go, you know what, that's so much better than the product images that we've seen. Makes a massive difference from a buyer's perspective. So that was very exciting.
The distribution has been sorted out as well. We're going to definitely see all of this in the UK going forward because they've teamed up with Simba and Dicky, who are the official importers for the UK. So they're working together. Cool. We'll see all the RC cars and everything come from the Simba brand, I believe, because it had Simba above the door when we went in. So it was the Simba brand that are importing these for the UK.
Yeah. And this was another booth that we, you could only get into via appointment. It felt very cool, kind of going up and going, oh, we're here to see so and so, and like, okay, just checking the list. Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
Was it? So obviously, I do a lot of cons and things, and it's always heaving. Was it heaving, or was it more relaxed, a nicer kind of environment to wander around?
But you've seen the video. Have you seen the video online of me basically like having fun with Pikachu and stuff like that?
You shouldn't say that live, but yes, I have seen that.
It was like that all the way around the corner.
Available on his OnlyFans.
It was like that all the way around the con. It wasn't ever
Okay.
overly busy, overly heaving. You had to get appointments everywhere, so even if it was, it wouldn't matter because you got an appointment to see everybody. The booths,
Yeah.
we can only have so many people in the booths at any one time because there's not that much room in them.
It was
So-
one of my favorite moments was right at the beginning because there was two entrances. So Sorrell came in one entrance, I came in another entrance, and I was like, I'm here. Where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm here as well. And then Sorrell phoned me and he was like, oh, I'm at this. And I was like, okay, you've come in the other entrance. Just hang on a second. I'm just getting a selfie with Sonic and I'll be over. I'm stood next to Sonic, and yeah, it was just. But the thing is, you got to remember, this is a trade show, so it's not like your general kind of Joe public probably wouldn't enjoy it as much because you can't get in to see things, and you could walk around the venue twice in 20 minutes. But unless you're going into these booths and really seeing stuff and talking to the brands, you wouldn't get as much out of it as you would if you're doing it that way.
Like we saw a couple of people like when we went to Funko, and this is not us tooting our horn or anything like that. It was just I've never had this kind of experience before, and I was kind of like, oh my god, what the fuck? So it's like we got to the Funko stall, and there was like a queue a mile long. And was like she like saying, you know, who are we to see, who are we, kind of thing. So I kind of like said, you know, what we're to see, you know, so and so, and literally there was a queue of people who were like, yeah, they'll see you now, and they just pulled us straight in. And they were like, whoa, like, I've been pulled out of line.
Yeah,
I've made it, Mum. I've made it.
Felt very. I felt like I should have worn a suit.
Yeah, it was very weird, wasn't it?
A top hat, like we should have dressed up like Dumb and Dumber in like the orange,
the orange and the blue.
Yeah, we are here to see. But yeah, it was cool. But the other thing as well, near where the theater was, is obviously we saw the werebears. Now they were announced, weren't they? They were announced that they're coming back to the UK, and they just it was just the whole feel of the event was just so nostalgic, and every single booth that we went into or kind of had a real look at had something really nostalgic about it, whether it was a direct re-release of the toy from the 80s or the 90s, or whether it was something that was kind of aimed at that market. And the werebears were just like I felt like a kid again, like just seeing them and remembering how they turn. And do you know what I mean? It was really, but they look great.
Nostalgia sells, doesn't it? Nostalgia sells. You know, it's big money.
We've not done a show since the werebears were announced, so I mean, the werebears are coming back. All the characters are back. All the main ones. But this time we're also getting the girl werebear, which I believe is Susie. I want to say, something like that. The girl werebear. Anyway, the girl werebear is finally getting released, and they're also giving us blind boxed versions of the plushies. So you can get smaller versions in a blind box. They don't transform. They're already in their were form, if you will. But they come in the little blind boxes to obviously appeal to the modern blind box audience. And then you get the standard big werebears that transform and stuff like you've had as kids. And the line just looks awesome. And they've said it's, you know, because I've been talking with David, who is the current guy who's bringing it back. He's working with Character Options to get this released in the UK, and it looks awesome. We weren't allowed to take any photos or anything, but you can see photos online. There are the guy I'm talking about, David. He released a load of photos online. Yeah,
it's a shame that we couldn't get photos of them because I would have liked to have got a photo of us with them. And as you say, there wasn't anything in that section that wasn't already officially online anyway.
Yeah. Well, there was the Terrified Series 2, which we can't talk about.
No, I meant
Series 2.
I meant the werebear bit.
Oh, the werebear box. Yeah, the werebear.
Then obviously it does make sense because you would have a picture and in the background you would see something else. So another thing as well that we kind of went past very quickly is we saw Minecraft movie merch as well.
All right.
Which was, you know, I'm not going to say anything about what it was.
No. He's going off script.
No, I'm not going to. But I'm just saying it's there. It's coming.
It's coming.
It's one of the questions that we've kind of had a few times is whether the Minecraft are going to kind of do movie merch, because obviously there is a huge amount of merchandise for Minecraft anyway. But
we can't say who's releasing it or what it is, where it is. It's coming.
But we
Minecraft merch is happening,
and it looks good.
Was there any 1/6 scale stuff there, or was that not the kind of venue for it?
Yes.
Well, 12-inch.
Yeah, there was. So with
Mandals.
You mentioned. Right, sorry, you can't have a go at Mandals when you collect Care Bears. Like,
I missed that. Did you say Mandals?
Mandals, what they are in it.
Wow.
Yeah, you all take Mick out. You take Mick out of my Care Bears. I'll take Mick out of your giant action man.
That's fine. That's fine. But no, you mentioned Funko, right? Now I'm a Funko fan now. I'm not gonna lie, right? So Funko were one of my favorite booths. Like they had so much going on. And it's Funko Mondo. So obviously when you look at kind of the big turtle figures, the 1/6 scale He-Man, the 1/6 scale animated X-Men figures like Rogue, Gambit, Cyclops. And I've seen these figures, I've seen these Mondo figures online and kind of ifed and butted about them because I wasn't sure how they would do it, but they look brilliant.
I've got loads. I'll send you some photos. I've got all the Masters line. I've got the new Lino that's just come out. The wrap, they are different to a hot toy because they are basically just an exploded big action figure. So as long as you don't mind seeing the joints and things like that, they're great. I love them. Absolutely love them.
That is the difference. And to be honest with you, like the Masters ones, for example, like He-Man and Skeletor were on display. And when you're displaying them, you can get them into a pose where they look good. Do you know what I mean? Like with the joints and stuff. But yeah, just stunning. But no, the Funko booth were good. They were very kind to us. They gave us an untold amount of stuff. And they're doing some really cool things. Like you would have seen a video on, I think on both of our socials where they're doing the bitty pops, but they're doing the play set.
The play set.
And they're kind of two or three level play sets, and they come with a couple of different bitty pops. But then like our contact there showing us round, then closed it and it turns into a Funko box.
Funko Pop.
And we were like,
Funko Pop
whoa.
box.
Yeah. So you can display them as boxes and have them displayed open up, which was really cool.
And they're doing the Pennywise It Sewer, so you can get so they're definitely going to be doing a horror horror minis line. There's no, if they're doing Pennywise, there's no sure. So we saw that there was a Harry Potter one, which was, I believe, it's the Chamber of Secrets. I believe. I'll have to ask my wife. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. And then they did a Stranger Things, which was 11 it was like 11 in the house on the upper bit, and then it had I forgot the kid's name, but it's the kid upside down in blue on the other side. It was all dark and dingy on the other side. So there was that one, and then there was a Stitch one. It was Stitch, wasn't it? It was like Stitch's house. So they were all very cool, and the bitty line is going from strength to strength because we also saw these, and I've got one in hand now because I found it in B&M. So basically, you can get these bitty giant ones. So this is Soundwave with Rumble. Rumble's the tiny bitty pop that goes inside of him. The bitty pop sits inside. Look,
okay,
you see this in there? Yeah, they sit inside of the big one. So what they're going to be releasing, like they've got this one, and there's going to be the Megazord from Power Rangers, and you can put the Red Ranger and all the little Rangers inside of it, just like in the TV show. So the Funko line with bitties is just growing, and I think this and the bitty pops are going to maybe replace the mystery minis, because the mystery minis seem to be getting small, like less and less every year, not as many releases, and this seems to be replacing it. And they've got so much new stuff coming out for bitty pops. It was insane.
I think that I mean you can see behind me that they gave us a whole bunch of stuff, which was great. Like they fed us, but since actually visiting them, I've even picked up a new Funko.
What did you pick up?
Look at this bad boy.
Yes.
How cool is that?
So I got the Dilophosaurus one.
I saw that one. I did see that one, but the box of this one was so much. Like I saw both of them, but the Dilophosaurus looked tiny, but I just thought that for a Jurassic Park collection, like that goes really well in a Jurassic Park collection. And like with my Audrey 2's up there. Do you know what I mean? Like I like the ones that kind of don't look too caricatured, that they would fit in on a collection. So. Bethany Beth said, "Oh no, it starts. It does. It does."
And just the thing, I haven't done a video on this yet, but when we were at the Heo booth, they had something. It didn't have a box, but they had one. And at the end of the day, it was the end of the day when we saw him. And it was like, "You can take it." Yeah, I finally got it in hand.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, I'm so happy about that.
Speaking of Heo is another booth that we visited. They distribute a lot of the 1/6 scale stuff, so they do hot toys.
Have you got yours there? Have you got yours there? Have we got it there? Can we wind up? Can we wind up Triple G a little bit?
You're going to wind me up. Are you going
Just
to
a
wind
little
us up? What you got?
Mate, if you were with us.
What have you got? Show us what you've got. If it better be better than a Funko.
No,
What is
it's
it?
not Funko. It's better than Funko, mate.
Beast Kingdoms.
Piss off.
Got it in hand.
So they had one of
Very
each of
nice.
the. They had one of each of the Batmans. If you were there, you could have claimed Keaton, mate.
That's
Because we didn't
very
want.
nice.
He got Bale. I got Kilmer, and there was a Keaton left.
Let's have a look at the Kilmer. What do you get in the box?
So you get tons of stuff. These are high
So
end.
we've
They're
got-
really high
They're
end.
nice. They're nice figures.
You know
I
what?
like them.
Guess the price point.
Oh.
These are 8-inch. Comes with what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs of hands. Two of the Batarang, some accessories. The cape is wired. Multi-point action figure.
So
Japanese as well.
Similar to Cool, I guess, isn't it? So about 90 quid, 100 quid.
Yeah, 49.99.
Wow, that's not bad.
Same price of a necker in this day and age.
These
This is
are,
what they were saying to him. They were pushing the Beast Kingdom, and we were like, people have not seen these in the UK. You don't really get Beast Kingdom over here too often.
Yeah, that's a good head sculpt, actually.
the whole. I mean, me and Sorrel, we've got videos coming out tomorrow on these figures because these aren't actually out yet. So these aren't actually released until
Nice. Very nice.
February, March, April kind of time. So we're going to let our videos come out tomorrow just so you can see them. But on this one, there's 22 points of articulation. As Sorrel said, wired cape. I've got 5 sets of hands, 2 batarangs, grappling hook, a couple of other bits as well. But they're just really nice figures. Like really, really nice figures.
Who did you say make them?
Beast Kingdom.
Beast Kingdom. Nice. Yeah, very cool.
You know what?
Are they doing all of the Batman? Are they doing all of the movie? Yeah.
All of them.
Got, in the line that I know of, we've got Batman Begins, Dark Knight. We've got Batman Forever, Batman. We've got R-Pax Batman as well. Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was another. Was it Batman and Robin?
No, they had another. They hadn't done Clooney yet. They had two Bales in there because they're Batman Begins and then the Dark Knight. I think you claimed the Dark Knight one.
But there was
Batman
another one
Begins left on the shelf with Keaton.
No, there was another one that was in front of your one that was out of the box.
Yeah, that was the same one. It was just another one unboxed. It was just another Keaton just unboxed basically because he said to us because he didn't realize they had boxed and unboxed ones there. They were all the same. But yeah, that's wave 1. Beast Kingdom are doing wave 2, which will then have Clooney, I believe, and Adam West. They are expanding the line, so there's going to be like one of every Batman basically in the Beast Kingdom line.
And Adam West would be very cool. I'd like that.
So
they gave you those, did they?
Yeah, they just said take them.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah.
But these are they're just really nice action figures. And the thing I said is for somebody that predominantly collects 1/6 scale, for me, it's about the detail, the articulation, the kind of attention to detail and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, my roots are in kind of 1/12 scale, like So to have something that's kind of 8 inches, if I stand him next to a hot toy, he looks like a little brother cosplay.
Yeah.
They don't work, but they're a nice scale, being 8 inches. And I just think when it comes to like DC properties, when it comes to Batman, I think for the price point, these are a much, much better investment than like the McFarlane ones, for example, articulation wise, detail wise, and stuff like that. They are really going to give.
You could set yourself up a really nice display, couldn't you? For I don't want to say cheap, but for a decent price to have all the different iterations of Batman that are being on screen. You could fill your shelf with them. That would look very cool.
Yeah. I think that's going to be my plan. To be fair, I think I'm a big Batman fan anyway. Yeah. This will frustrate you because obviously I had the choice of Keaton, Bale, or I can't remember who the other one was.
It doesn't matter. Keaton is the right answer every time. Why didn't you get Keaton?
Because I've got Keaton as a hot toy, so I was kind of like, you know what? He's the only Batman I've got as a hot toy.
Yeah,
is Keaton. So I was like, you know what? If I get him, I'm essentially just going to be looking at something and comparing it to the hot toy. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get something and compare it to itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did make an educated guess. And for 50 quid, I'm going to be picking up the rest. You know what I mean?
I got the Kilmer because I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we were talking about Beast Kingdom not so long ago. We were looking at a Jim Carrey Riddler that is coming out in that line. I thought if I've got a Kilmer, well, odds are if they're only 50 quid a figure, I will definitely pick up Riddler to go with him.
Yeah.
And if they're making Riddler, they undoubtedly will make Two-Face, I'm hoping. So
But for anyone that's interested, they're Beast Kingdom. Most of the online retailers have them as pre-orders, so you can pick them up from all of your regular kind of online retailers. And they're not that expensive at all, but they are definitely cool. But yeah, so the Heo booth had everything from these. The other one as well from Beast Kingdom that really got my attention was that Jack Skellington.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And they're doing a Jack Skellington that was again about 8 inches, 8.5 inches, but it's cloth goods. So there's loads of articulation in it, but his whole suit is cloth. So unlike the other ones that we've had from from other brands such as Diamond Select have obviously done a lot of Nightmare Before Christmas. Was it NECA that did the other?
NECA are just about to release theirs now.
With all of those, you see the joints and they're very kind of spindly and stuff. But the Jack Skellington comes with zero as well, and where he's got cloth goods, you could really get him into some good poses. We didn't see the box, so I don't know what other accessories it comes with, but as an action figure, it was stunning. It was really stunning. Cool. Nice. So if you're an action figure, if you're a Nightmare Before Christmas fan, Beast Kingdom is definitely potentially the way to go. But they're the Heo are a distributor, so they're not, they had everything from a 1,100-pound Warhammer statue to an Echo. Was it Echo Hot Toys figure?
Echo Hot Toy figure, yeah. They had they even had pop vinyls. They had a mixture of all sorts of stuff.
They had He-Man, the retro card back He-Man. They just had everything, and then obviously a lot of anime stuff as well.
Yeah.
What other things were there? What else did we get around to? There's so much.
So we saw Yumi Toys. Went to Yumi Toys.
Oh yeah,
Yumi Toys are a bit of a Japanesey sort of company. They do a lot of the Squid Games that I've been reviewing. These things. If I want. These ones that I've been buying from B&M and stuff. These little.
Oh yeah.
So they've been doing the Squid Game stuff, and they're also they apparently did a Stranger Things like squishy and bobblehead series as well. But like I was saying to them at the time, I've never seen them in the UK. So those kind of passed us by. But they've even done like because they kind of do all the sort of like blind box figures, a bit like Pop Mart and things like that. And they've done like a whole Conjuring line that I had no idea existed until we were there. So they had you like Mario Kart where you've got like Mario in the little car. Right, they did a horror version of that. Imagine horror Mario Kart. So it was like Annabelle was in a tiny little car, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, I need that in my life.
What was really cool about the Yumi toys as well is they had a lot of kind of work in progress on their stall as well. So there was things that again you couldn't take photos of, but they were kind of working prototypes that you could have to look at, and they were showing you and stuff. So a lot of stuff for Stranger Things coming out to time with the new series of Stranger Things, series 5 of Stranger Things. But there was just
stuff. There were a lot of Squid Games coming out because like the piggy bank heads with the figures. They were pretty cool. There were tons of stuff coming out.
So out of everything you saw that you're allowed to tell about, what was your favorite thing that's got you most excited?
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Mine would be it's a three-way tie.
It's hard.
The Batman, the Beast Kingdom stuff blew me away, and it's a brand that's kind of gone under the radar a little bit in the UK, I think. But I think Beast Kingdom is like you say, you can set up a decent haul of Batman for relatively cheap. And as a Batman fan, that's definitely, there's a huge appeal there, because I would never be able to get all of the Batman versions in Hot Toy.
Too pricey.
Space and value and all the rest of it. So to be able to do that 8-inch, and the McFarlane ones never appealed to me because they just didn't work for me. It wasn't my cup of tea. But these ones, I'm really excited about the potential of having that kind of haul of Batman, especially after being at the Batman experience in London, the unmasked thing,
cool.
And seeing all of that. That's what I'm doing. Power Rangers. Wait, I'm still on my three-way tie, mate. Three-way tie. The Power Rangers we'll circle back to, but Power Rangers definitely excited me. And Funko. The Funko actually really impressed me because I think a lot of people, when they think of Funko, they think of
Tat.
kind of. I can't even get him because when you think of Funko, you think of that. Yeah. But that's not what Funko is about. Like Funko is not. That's your Funko Pop, but there's so much more to the brand. And seeing it all and having it in hand got me really excited. Like really excited. And that's why I picked up that T-Rex. Like. Never would have sought it out, but if I hadn't seen the ones at this booth, I was like, oh, that would work really well with like for example, that's going to go with my retro Kenner figures as like a piece for those. So yeah, so that really excited me. But Power Rangers definitely got me excited, and it got me excited. I'm not going off script, Sorrell, don't worry, I'm not going to get anyone cancelled. But the theme of the day was definitely nostalgic. So that says read between the lines. As a dad and as a child fan of Power Rangers, what's coming ticks all of the boxes.
Okay.
And so I'm just very excited for what that holds. The Lightning collection and Hasbro's offering of Power Rangers, I couldn't share with my kids because that didn't tie in as a dad and young children. That was an adult collector. Playmates have done it justice.
Good to hear.
People are going to take this video and say that Lightning Collection is dead in the water. But let's not forget, again, this is just me speculating, but let's not forget, Hasbro still owned the master toy license. All they've done is given a license to Playmates. The master license is still owned by Hasbro that owns the product. They haven't sold it to Playmates.
Yeah.
They have just given a license to make toys. So they could reserve the rights still if they wanted as the master toy holder, that they could continue the Lightning Collection if they chose to. But to be fair, was it that successful? People liked it, and the collectors love it. Obviously, want to finish their collections. But the thing is, was it successful enough for Hasbro? Why else would they have gone to Playmates? Why else have they asked someone else to make the toys for them? In my opinion, you know what I mean. So I'm excited to see where Playmates go with it and what we're going to get in the future as well.
Yeah. I think that what we're starting with has real potential to be very, very popular. And I think if it does, that opens up so many doors for future products, for future collectors, for Hasbro to potentially come back in and continue things. I don't know, but it was definitely positive. It was one of those moments where there was a lot of anticipation for me as a Power Ranger fan, as you know, as somebody that has Power Ranger Lightning Collection and that kind of stuff. That you can see, like I've even got the White Ranger's there. He's there. And I walked in and I was like, wow, this was better than what I expected.
But Power Rangers wasn't the only thing in that room.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't, was it? It really wasn't. And we were like we
weren't even there to see that. And obviously it wasn't until I was like, we walked into the room. Obviously I saw there was other things here, but your mind was like over here, drawn to because she took us in to see the Power Rangers. So we were like, oh, Power Rangers, look at this, all the stuff. And then I was talking to her, and we sort of shifted positions in the room one way as we were talking. And it wasn't until I was facing this way, back towards the door, that my eyes went, whoop. And I'm like, oh, over here. Because she didn't even take us to see that bit, and she didn't even really talk about it. So I'm not even sure what we can and can't say. But this is where we get cancelled. But that was, there was a boatload of new stuff there too. Do you think can we even say the IP or not? No? Yes?
I think you can. I think, yeah.
TMNT. We saw a load of TMNT.
Okay.
But we can't. Again, I'm not going to disclose anything because we can't. Obviously, I think I'd get shot. But there was some TMNT stuff, and they looked awesome.
Yeah.
Because the first question I asked in that room was, now that Playmates have Power Rangers, like we've all been speculating, Turtles is owned by Playmates, and there's a comic book, and and I think their words were but you never know. That could have been just sort of saying that because she doesn't know, but lots of balls in the air.
Yep. It was just a really good day. It was a really good day.
And it sounds amazing. Sounds very cool.
I didn't expect to not be able to say like to be tied in as much as we were. Like I thought we would come out and be able to just talk about everything, but there was a real kind of honor to be able to be shown this stuff without like with full trust that we weren't going to just share it all. You know what? I could load up a couple of posts after the show and probably get it shared all over the place because of what we've seen. But what's the point in that? Like, I'd much rather have that experience and have that trust built than kind of for a handful of likes, you know.
So did they give you like an embargo date or anything when you can start talking about some of this stuff?
Nope.
Okay. No.
They basically said that there's some events in the future, and we just need to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
But we're going to hopefully be working with them going forward.
Yeah.
So as soon as we have information, I'm not, like I said this on my short that I did. When we have information, I will share it. There's no point DMing us constantly now trying to get leaks and information because we're not going to give you it. It's not going to happen. It's not worth the trust we've built with these companies. We want to work with them going forward. We're not idiots. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to stay tight-lipped for now. And then as soon as they say, guys, here's the images, here's the promos, go have fun, we will do a whole show based on it and we'll talk about it. But until then, embargo date is in place. We're not releasing that information.
But I think based on what we saw, it's not going to be long.
No. But I tell you what, at that event, the Funko booth again, Mondo, there's a little bit of it. I don't spend more than like 100 quid on an action figure. You know that never happens. But I tell you what, that Megan, that Mondo Megan, ooh, yeah. I found her in stock at a few places, and I'm very tempted. Pull that trigger. She looks awesome.
The thing that really threw me the most, it's the first time I've seen it in hand, was the life-size Annabelle doll.
Yeah,
it's huge.
I was like, I wouldn't want that in my house. Like, no matter how much I like the film, I would not trust it. I've seen the movie. Like, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not playing with that. No, that's you stay over there in your box.
You could have great fun with that. You could just move it around the house randomly, not tell. You know,
I know,
your kids and
whatnot,
and your wife.
You've clearly not seen my entire list of shorts that I've been doing that for the last year and a half. That has been content on my channel for about a year now. Annabelle's escaped.
I think I'd just be tempted. Bear in mind that, like, for a job, I do go into like abandoned houses and do refurb work and stuff like that. I think I'd be tempted to just take it with me and
put it
the window of a house that people knew was empty and just see. Like, I think that's what I'd do. But there was lots of fun. But yeah, I mean, just to reiterate that it's not an event that if you're kind of, you know, if anyone's kind of thinking, like, that sounds really good, it's not an event that you would get a lot out of unless you had an opportunity to have meetings with people. And anyone can request a meeting, but then obviously they kind of pick and choose who they want to and there are people with a much larger standing than me and Sorrell that didn't get meetings for whatever reason. And there are people with much smaller standings than me and Sorrell that did get meetings for whatever reason. Like, how they pick their meetings is up to them. But if you're not having those meetings, it's a very kind of quick day. But the security on it is next level as well. Like, at the door, they're checking, even down to the extent where there was one guy that when I was walking in, like, they do all your bag checks and everything like this, and this guy had like business cards and they wouldn't let him take them in because it would be self-publicizing with the event. So they would not let him take these things in, and he just couldn't get it in his head. He was like, well, I'm not going to give them out. Like, well, why have you got them with you then? Well, if somebody asks for my details, they're not going to ask for your details. He's like, no, but they might. And then got a phone, haven't you? Like, and it's like really like on it. But so it's a good event. It is a good event.
It sounds very cool. Sounds very.
When we were at the Funko booth waiting to go in, there was a lady that was already being seen on the right of us. Do you remember with the Loungefly lady? She's from TikTok and she's got a ridiculous following. I think Gemma Summer, I want to say. And then that's like she's on TikTok. I recognize her from TikTok.
Yeah.
And I filmed my video obviously the day, and there's a bit where you can see in the background, and my wife instantly went, "Yeah, that's so and so from TikTok." Like, how did you recognize from the back of the head? Like, that's scary. But there was like this other TikTok lady. She was being shown around by the Funko rep, and she had like a security guard with her. So I mean, she must have like a serious following and like getting mobbed and stuff. So that was kind of cool to see. But
That's
yeah,
just
there was. Oh, sorry.
It's just me and Sorrel walking around wrestling with
That's
people.
it,
We were just like, yeah, all right,
High fiving Barney.
yeah. No, it was good fun. It was good fun. And the other thing as well is that they put on like all the coffee you can drink, like your lunch.
Right.
Like there's a special little room that you can go up to, and there's like sweet jars, and there's like all the food that you
That
would
was
like.
only for influencers though. That was literally because I just to reiterate, this was for like me and you and a few other select people that were there as influencers. That wasn't even available to press on that day.
No.
That was because like there was a guy trying to get in when we were there. And he was just
he
was just from the press junket and he couldn't get in, but like the letter straight through was like, oh, okay, you have to sign it. It's like you said, you have to sign anything? Like, no. In you go.
I did feel a little bit not embarrassed, but I'd never refer to myself as influencer.
No.
That's not a title I use in any way, shape, or form. I'm an online creator. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then they gave me this badge that basically just had my name, my handle, and influencer in big letters, and I was like,
pink letters.
no, I'm not really. I'm a content creator. That's what we like to call ourselves. But yeah, it's cool, and it was cool to have people like kind of ask about you or talk about your videos and talk about it. Like it was really like it was a very surreal day. But I think underneath it all, me and Sorrel were just two big kids geeking out over new stuff. It was like a physical representation of the Argos catalog for me. I want that like, drawing circles around stuff.
The poor woman looking after us at the Care Bear booth where My Little Pony Care Bear, the poor woman that was looking after us, and she's trying to go through this spiel, and every 10 seconds you could just hear me. You could hear me on all the videos that my dad was with me because I went obviously down to London, so he films for me and stuff. And he's filming stuff, and on his video that he's got, all you can hear is her going, and these are coming out. And obviously, you hear Jacob going, yeah, like okay, like talking with it. It's just me going, oh, Kemba, look,
walking past it. Oh,
yeah, that's just me making these ridiculous noises and then singing. And there's a bit where you can literally hear me going, I'm going to be a Care Bear, and I've got the Care Bear in my hands, but I was like, you're a giant child. Like I don't know who let you into that building, but you are a giant child.
Yeah. But the thing is, you kind of you set up that, you know, they gonna go, are you interested in seeing this? We're like, yes, we are giant man babies. Like, take us to we are interested in whatever you would like. Go on. Trying to act all mature and professional, and inside you're really excited about, like you see some kind of like blind bag collection.
But as well, they want to see that reaction from people. Do you know what I mean? They want to see that joy on people's face, not just the corporate, dullness.
Don't worry about that because we will definitely be memorable with me there. Don't worry about that. Jacob sometimes keeps it all together and calm and collected. And yes, I will enjoy reviewing this for you. And there's just me in the background going, like running around going, Stitch.
We're literally, but it is hard to kind of compose yourself. You're there like, like, would you like to come and have a look at these that we're releasing in the spring? And like, yes, adequate, yes. I'm there going like this. Yes. It's like, but inside you're just kind of going, ooh. Yeah, it's good fun. So, yeah, I think that's all we can really say. I think there was some other stuff, but again, it's so much of it is under secrecy. Yeah. But put it this way, this is like the tip of an iceberg of this year's toys. Like we say, nostalgia and feels, and if you're an 80s, 90s kid. Yeah, it's our year, baby. It's our year.
You not mentioned Transformers. Any Transformers there?
Hasbro weren't there, mate.
Right, okay.
Hasbro and Mattel were missing. Hasbro and Mattel were like the only people not in the room.
They were the big players that weren't there. Yeah. But then I don't know whether that's because obviously it's a trade show. You know, there is an element of obviously selling into stores and distributors and that kind of stuff. So I don't know whether they were just.
Yeah, so Apogee was there, and I believe Apogee is the distributor in the UK to Smiths and people like that for Hasbro. So, but the Hasbro have been there in years past. But again, Hasbro, when I went the first time I ever went years ago, they had a locked room like Bandai did, and it was pointless. Why are they there? Makes no sense. But yeah, Transformers, there was nothing really other than those mix mashers that I got. Yeah. So there's them. There's like 3 or 4 of them coming out, but. In regards to real Transformers, there was nothing really there. I believe Iron Studios had some stuff, but we didn't even get anywhere near there.
Blockies were there as well.
Blockies were there, yeah.
Transformer stuff. So I mean, there was, and like Hasbro and Mattel products were littered throughout the event because of distribution and distributors and all that kind of stuff. So they were there in essence, but they weren't there represented by the brand specifically. So, but yeah, but no, it was good. It was good.
Very cool. Very cool.
But I suppose, I mean, in a weird kind of way, we've kind of answered the main theme of this, like our toys for kids.
Just for people, just for people that are going to ask me again 1,000 times, if you're watching this, no, we couldn't get into Jazzwares. We went to see Jazzwares. It was appointment only. I couldn't get in contact with the PR team, so I have no idea what Five Nights at Freddy's stuff's coming out. But I can only say that the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff hasn't been announced yet, and I'm guessing they're going to be probably at New York Toy Fair in March. More than likely, that's going to be the big launch for FNAF. Along with probably along with the first trailer for the second movie. I imagine there'll be a big FNAF booth. So we didn't get anywhere near Fat Mojo, Jazzwares, and who's the other one? Jada. No, not Jazzwares, and who's the other one? Moose Toys. They were the other big player there that you couldn't get near for love nor money. But there was a massive like Sylvanian Families booth with the biggest like Wind in the Willows looking setup you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Right. If I was there for more than one day, I would have just sat and played with the boat. Yeah. I would play with that bad boy.
It looked so good, the Sylvanian Families, that as we went past it, I even said to Sorrel, I was like, yeah, I could get behind doing some stuff with Sylvanian Families like that. I love a playset, and I love a diorama.
You could do some crack and stop motion stuff with that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would look amazing. But yeah. But I think in a weird kind of way, Toy Fair 25 has kind of answered my opinion on this week's kind of question, as in our toys for kids. And I think that the feel of Toy Fair was so nostalgic that the toys that are coming, there are definitely stuff that's aimed at kids, that's aimed at a younger audience. But as adults, as parents, as sort of children of the original era of it, it's a year to definitely be excited for. Like, there is so much coming out that even if I don't collect it, it will be stuff that I'll be excited to buy for my kids or to have my kids get into.
See, I think there is most definitely a line of toys or an area of toys for children. But I think a lot of the stuff you've just described really does center on nostalgia, and the price point isn't for kids. It's just not for pocket money. It's for people, let's be honest, like us. Do you know what I mean? Who are big kids at heart, and are buying these kind of figures. Because we're saying 50 quid for a Batman. That's reasonable. But is it reasonable for a 10-year-old who's got pocket money coming in? Do you know what I mean? It's not, I guess. And I guess the other thing that always interests us and put you on the spot, do you in your private lives, in your work lives and things like that, do you hold your hands up and say you collect toys and dolls?
Yeah.
Do you? See, I don't.
People know I do.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
So I've got to...
as I've got older, mate, this is my entire personality.
Yeah. So I've got, outside of YouTube, I've got a responsible job. And I think it would be frowned upon if I was to be sat in board meetings and things and they're like, oh, that's the guy who plays with dolls. Do you know what I mean? So I've kind of kept that entire life separate. Some of my close colleagues that I work with, no. But I don't tell anybody that I work with that I've got a YouTube channel. I dread the day I go into work and someone says, I saw you in your bloody Sonic the Hedgehog face paint naked on screen. I'm thinking, oh, yeah.
For me, I always find it weird. Like, you see it a lot in the Facebook groups where people kind of talk about, like I saw it a lot in the Marvel Legends Facebook groups where people would talk about kind of hiding stuff from their spouses or from their significant others, or can you mark this as a gift that I've won in a raffle or something like that. And I just never understood it. I never understood kind of hiding that part of you. Like, I think you reach a certain age where you kind of go, this is who I am, like, deal with it. And like, I'm not a big, like, I like football, but I'm not a big football fan. And the argument I've always had with my friends that are big football fans, when they kind of like, I'll say, oh yeah, I'm going down to Comic-Con, and they're like, oh, is that where people like dress up as like characters out
Yeah.
of comic books. And I'm like, yeah, but don't you dress up as a football player every Sunday? Like when you go down to
Halloween.
No, it's not the same. And I'm like, well, it kind of is. Like these people, I don't do cosplay, but I'm like, this person really enjoys this movie and they're dressing up as this character. You really enjoy that game and you're dressing up as that player. That's what you're doing. Like, let's be honest.
I had an interesting experience a couple of weeks back where I got in from work a little bit early and my son was in with some of his mates and I could hear them upstairs. Automatically my geek sense goes off. I think they're in my frigging room. They're in my geek cave. So I went up and sure enough, there they were. I've never felt like a cooler person. It was like at one point where I thought my son actually looked up to us because the kids were just in awe of all of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? And it was lovely, but then I wouldn't go to work and advertise that I've got dolls.
I'm a tradie, like, so I'm out on like building site, but they all know that I do it, and they all rip me for it. But I'm just like, you know what? That's who I am. Like, that's what I do, and it's
as my dad was telling Jacob the other day, I can't even do the school run anymore. Because I literally will go to pick Paige up from school and have to take about 50 selfies with children. Because literally one after another, it's like, that's the guy from YouTube. And that's all I hear across the playground. Like, my daughter is famous at her school because her dad's the YouTuber. Right. Like, so obviously I'm very lucky that I get to do this full time. And I sit with the I've got no blinds on this window. I've just got curtains. I sit with it open all day because obviously I'm filming. I need light. So I'm sat there with blinds on, with curtains on, and you'll see kids just walking past and just pointing at me from like over the road. It's like so weird. But yeah, in my local area, I'm very well known as the YouTube guy. So it's I mean, I can't hide it anymore. There's no point anymore.
No, I just think that I don't know. There are much worse hobbies, much worse habits that people can have, and that's kind of always my mentality. Is I'm like. What I always say to people, funny enough, I've had this conversation through like Instagram and Messenger and Facebook and stuff like that. Quite a few people have asked me about, whether I tell people that I'm into figures or, whether I do that kind of stuff. And yeah, and I've always said, you know what I mean? Like if it brings you joy, then do it. Like who cares? Like who actually cares? Like if you want to collect Care Bears, collect Care Bears. Do you know what I mean? Like if that's what makes you happy, if you want to collect Funkos, collect Funkos. And if you want to collect 1/6 scale little models of your favorite action figures, then knock yourself out. Like, you know what I mean? I just think I've always kind of promoted the idea that, you know what I mean, you're going to get to a stage in your life and you're going to kind of look back and kind of go, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. And if this brings you joy, then knock yourself out. But I think you are right. I think that there are certain toys that are aimed at kids. There are certain toys that are for kids, but I think that it's very easy to so I was thinking like
my channel would tell you otherwise.
No, but I'm thinking like Imagine X, for example.
Yeah.
Like, prime example, Imagine X. There isn't many collectors. I'm sure there would be that their sole collection would be made up of Imagine X, but there are lots of kids that would have Imagine X. Yeah. But like I would be up for reviewing or looking at Imagine X.
I'm sorry, Dragons are Drake. Jacob said you've got to go.
But it wouldn't go on my shelf. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about the figures. And I think being a dad as well, there are certain things that I would let my kids have and certain things that I wouldn't. That makes sense. And it's really bizarre because a lot of my Marvel Legends have now ended up in the boys' rooms because they're the toys that they play with and not the toys that go on my shelf because mine are a little bit more expensive now. But that's not saying that they're not toys, but there is a toy element to them. Does that make sense? So I don't know. It is a difficult one, you know. What do you class as a toy, and what do you class as a kid?
What I'm really loving is at the moment there is this, like those Sonic the Hedgehog movie toys and the new Simpsons line. They are at a price point, right? And which they are pocket money toys. Kids can afford them. I've seen a lot of kids with these toys. But I think they're also awesome enough that they sit on my shelf as well as on a kid's shelf. You know what I mean? Like the new, I've got Krusty the Clown on my shelf now, and I've got some of the Simpsons. but that kids would collect those that same line as an adult collector would. So I think we're at this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're at a point where the toys are coming, like toys that kids get and toys adults get are kind of becoming one now. It's kind of just crossing over. There is the stuff that you guys collect, which is a whole different story. But I mean, like the stuff that you're seeing in Smiths nowadays, you won't see any of that lower end stuff anymore. Like Hasbro don't produce it, Playmates don't produce it. They seem to produce like the He-Man figures that a kid could afford them, because right now in Smiths some of them are down to $5.
Yeah.
Kids could easily afford that, but an adult collector would easily like those as well. So that's where kind of my sort of collection is nowadays.
But it's nice as well, isn't it, to see when you go into Smiths or and you go into one of the big toy shops, you still see the lines and lines and lines of action figures. Because when I was starting to grow up a little bit, there was this fear that video games would kill out the action figure, that people wouldn't be interested in imagination and playing with toys. And I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of people do play video games, absolutely, but I still think there's something to be said for physically having a lump of plastic in your hand and making your own stories up and bashing them against each other and all that kind of stuff,
I'm not sure. I don't think kids today, I might be just talking from my own kid here, but I mean, my daughter, maybe because she's seen me, she emulates me, but she would buy toys and she's got a shelf in her room just like I've got a shelf. And she's got an entire, she's asked for like, standees and things to like stand them on, like they call the high risers and stuff. So like she collects the mini brands, but she's like displayed them, not played with them. You know what I mean? And like kids are collecting things like these little mystery minis. These are like the most popular things on the planet. The things that I'm getting, these little mystery minis, £5 a pop, these little blind bags. You can't play with these. There's no play to this. It's just a solid block of plastic.
It's collectible. It's a collectible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Kids nowadays are buying stuff like this, and it is going on a shelf next to the console. When they're playing the games, they're collecting the like the Sonics and the Marios and the things that go with the games.
And I think that's probably the bit of Funko Pops that I don't understand, because it's not like even the high-end hot toys I can play with. I can change the hands. I can pose them. I can swap out weapons. Funkos are literally just a chunk of plastic. Do you know what I mean? And that's it's the play element, I guess, that I don't get with those kind of things.
I think that's also
the like about a Deadpool coming out of a 30th anniversary cake. I mean,
but I think that's also the difference between a hot toy collector and a statue collector. Some of these statues, like this Warhammer one that we saw at Heo, it was £1,100. This thing was ridiculous. Probably like one fourth scale, maybe. It was a lot bigger than the detail, and it was stunning. And you know what? If you were into Warhammer, that would be a centerpiece. There's no two ways. You could swap the head out, so the head would change over, and you could swap the weapons out. But it essentially was a statue. And I think that's the difference, is that Funkos are essentially affordable statues. So if you're more into kind of just that representation of, I like this character and I want to represent this character or this franchise on my shelf, but I don't want a toy, you get essentially a statue. I think the other thing as well is key that I think none of us have really mentioned is that when we were younger, there wasn't the action figure collectors weren't really a thing, because toys were just made for kids. It's kind of our generations that, as we've grown up, the kind of Star Wars figures maybe being like the first to really become kind of collectibles that people then started collecting to display. And as we've grown up, you've got this new era of kind of action figure collectors who are either collecting stuff from their past or collecting new representations of things. So, I know when I was younger, there was no one of my age now that would have like a room of toys.
No.
That it was only, you got to think, it was only 20 years ago that if you'd have said you were a gamer and you had a console and you were playing Halo, you'd have been laughed out of the building and called the biggest nerd on the planet. Nowadays, every bloke on the planet has a console and plays FIFA and Call of Duty. But it wasn't that long ago. So I think, again, it's not going to be that long until because most people will have at least one Funko. Most people on this planet will have at least one collectible in their life. Come on. There's so much available now that I think in the next couple of years, it'll be the norm that most people have that like pop culture representation in their life.
Just to represent something that means something to them.
Yeah.
There isn't a person that comes to my house, whether it's you know, whether it's kind of friends of my wife or anything like that, like if we have people over for dinner, most of those dinners end up with me bringing somebody to see my room and for them to look at the stuff in my room. And every single person that I've brought out here has a connection to something. I go, oh, it's that oh, I love that show. I'm really into that show. What did they do? One of this character, or you know, oh, I remember that game, like, and all that kind of stuff. So it's slowly growing.
It's like we've talked about, I think, on a few occasions. It's all, for me, it's all about nostalgia. It's for people of our age. Do you know what I mean? It's those things that you look at and you just get that kind of. I mean, I've got a boggling behind us there. Do you know what I mean? It means nothing probably to my kids, but I see that, and I immediately am taken back to when I was a young kid in, you know, playing with the puppets, and it's just nostalgia. I think massive selling point, nostalgia.
Stephen there, like you said, Funko's came across like an early entry point into collecting. Collecting at 11, he's now 13, enjoys figures he can pose himself. But then you made a really good point as well, Stephen, there, that Funkos feel like an entryway into other pop culture themes, such as older movies like Jaws and so on, which is, dead right. And I think one thing that Funkos really has for them is they have that access to so many different IPs.
It's massive, isn't it?
They really can cover so many. But yeah, it's interesting that you say it, because when I was younger, being a comic book collector and being a fan of superheroes, none of my friends knew that. None of my friends knew that I collected comic books. None of my friends knew that I was into superheroes, because that wasn't the done thing. Do you know what I mean? If like you say, I would have got laughed at, I wouldn't have had any friends. I would have been, because it wasn't accepted culturally. Whereas now, you tell people that you're into superheroes, you're into comic books, you're into whatever, like they're kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Well, that's right. That's, you know.
I think the movies have got a big part to play in that. It's been brought into kind of normal culture. I mean, even things like, you know, Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? That's elevated kind of nerd culture, I guess you would say, in some regards. It's more acceptable now to the masses.
100%. It's a good talking point, though. It is a good talking point. But I think that's the difference. I think that's the definitive kind of answer. If toys are for kids, I think originally, they are. But kids grow up. And you know, therefore you kind of keep out with it, you know.
Hang on a minute. One thing you've just both said there that I'm really shocked. You guys had friends?
One or two. I mean, I know he said I have to hire them. Then I thought that sounds terrible.
Mate, no.
Yeah. I got one called Sorrow. I got one called Triple G. I mean, they're great guys.
I think growing up, I think I could count. I think I had two friends. And I was always the nerdy outcast kid. I've always been that kid.
You know,
I've never hidden my nerd culture. I've never hidden it. My dad were a Trekkie growing up and had a ridiculous amount of Star Trek books in the loft, right? That my mum made him put up there. You know what I mean? He taped every episode of Next Generation from the television onto VHS. Right?
I do envy
Wednesdays, 6:00. That's when Star Trek TNG was on.
But I do envy you for that, because like there wasn't anyone in my family that was kind of that way inclined, you know what I mean? So like Superman, for example, the original Superman film, like they let me watch because it was a superhero film. It was like, you know, this is what the kids will enjoy. And then, you know, from there you had the bed sheet and the coloring book and the sticker book, and then as a kid you're kind of going, this is really cool, like this is I want to know more about this. And I've said it a million times, like my grandma was like, she really kind of fed my habit, and we used to go down the boot sale, and there's a guy that sold American comic books, and you could pick up 5 of them for £1, and none of them, there was no issues that tied in with anything else, but the amount of characters that I was exposed to from that £1, like, and that was a pocket money thing. I'd go down to the boot sale with her, I'd have my £1, I knew what I was going to get, I'd get my 5 comic books, I'd read a bit of a story, but be introduced to all these different characters. And I think that's where my love from Ghost Rider came, is that all of a sudden in my comic book was there's leather jacket wearing kind of guy with a flaming skull for a head, and I was like, well, this is cool, like, this is except like surely my friends are going to think this is cool, like, who doesn't think this is cool? But yeah, so it's a weird one, but I think nowadays it's you know, Fuzzy said there, you know, comics were niche then, they're now Hollywood, you know. And that's absolutely. I think even the fact that you could walk into a supermarket like Tesco's or Asda and get a Deadpool t-shirt, you couldn't 10 years ago. 15 years ago, you wouldn't even be able to get a T-shirt with a comic book
Mm.
character on it unless you went to somewhere really specific. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I used to when I was coming up, I used to spike my hair. I had a great big earring in. I used to wear a long leather jacket because I wanted to be a lost boy, right? That was
think we
where,
all
and then the Matrix came out, and that just fed into the habit even more. And then like me, I had like one of my other friends. We both went goth together, and I never forget going to that comic book store and seeing The Crow on the shelf.
Yeah.
Before this was like just after the film came out, but the book obviously got re-released as the film came out, and yeah, that was like life changing.
Yeah.
I was the little emo kid before emo was a thing. You don't understand me. You've not read The Crow.
It's a weird one, knowing it, because I don't remember. There wasn't ever a point where I was kind of like, oh, I think I'm a geek. Like I've
always been a nerd.
It's always kind of been there, but and toys for me, when I actually think back to being a kid, I was always that kid that looked at the back of the box at what else was available.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I want to get the whole set. And I think that kind of mentality and that habit is the sign of an action figure collector. I'm I kind of test my kids with this. I'm kind of like, when they get a toy, I'm like, look what else is available. And if they're really interested, I'm like, yeah, we're in for a long haul here. If they're not, then I'm like, yeah, you're right, you're good.
Yeah.
My uncle used to play Warhammer. So both my cousins played Warhammer with him because they were his sons, and they would like invite me down on a Sunday and say, "Come on, we're gonna play some Warhammer." They taught me how to play Warhammer. They had like every army going available. So I never had to buy them. I just played with theirs. And like my uncle's them was one of these kind of guys. He's an old D&D player from the 80s when he was growing up. So he taught us D&D anyway. But then like we're playing Warhammer, he's like setting the scene, like the battle lines are drawn, the orcs are versus he was one of them kind of dudes, you know what I mean? So like growing up, nerdom was always in my life. I didn't have to hide it. My uncles, my cousins, everyone, we're all giant nerds.
Warhammer for me, when I first started senior school, and my friend introduced me to like Warhammer, and it was really weird because I was like, wow, this is really cool. It's like a weird kind of culture here. So I'd go in and I would do my painting and kind of collect different bits and pieces, and I kind of like that was the first kind of shop, like high street shop, that kind of had that kind of geeky culture.
See,
Stephen said that I'm 52 and I wear Geek t-shirts. If I wore a Spidey shirt at 15, I think it would have been beaten up at school. But you're dead right. You're dead right.
Yeah.
My wife even made a point the other day. She said, none of your shirts have anything like other than a superhero on. Every single one of your t-shirts has some reference to a superhero or some kind of geek culture or whatever.
Have I told you about my? I don't know if I told you guys this one. I was sat in a meeting at work, a board meeting with the chief exec and a whole host of very senior people. And we're sat and we're chuntering on and all the rest of it. And this guy just tapped us on the shoulder and leant into us. And he just whispered into me and he went, "Hail Hydra." And I was like, do you know when you just have that kind of second of thinking, what's happened? And then I clocked that I had my Hydra cufflinks on with the Hydra symbol. And it was, but automatically it was like, oh yeah, I can talk to you. I know you. You're all right. It was started chatting on, but it was like, it was just a surreal moment.
I love that.
That is cool. That is cool. All right, now go on, Sorrel.
I was just saying before we close off today, I don't have an announcement I want to make at the very end of the video. But did you open your Pyrotix yet that you got given?
Yeah.
Quite fair. You open these little bad boys.
Yeah, that Pyrotix were like one of the big sponsors. So like our lanyards kind of had them on and everything, and they were giving out loads of those. And I opened them up with my sons. They're really cool.
Mate, this is basically what I wanted for goblins. This is basically what I envisioned, right? These little blocks of plastic. And this is what I collected as a kid, man. I'm hooked now. I'm all in on this bad boy. I got the little logbook. I've got there's like 100 different stupid monsters to collect. I'm all in. This is how far I've gone, mate. I've gone down the rabbit hole. I've even bought a ship to put them on. I've gone all in. I'm all in.
But you know what? That's a really good example before you do kind of get to the end of like a toy that can be collected. Does that make sense? Because they are pocket money toys. They are cheap to buy. They've got play sets. They've got vehicles. Like you can buy them. But the really interesting thing is that kids will overlook them because of what else there is available. But they are really, and like my boys had a right laugh with the couple that I brought back. They were playing with them for ages, and they tie in with everything, and yeah, they're great.
You guys remember mussels? The kind of the salmon coloured.
Yeah,
I
just
love
like
them. Yeah,
Yep.
similar kind of things.
I've got one.
Like got like Monster in my pocket and all that. That's what they remind me of. It's that kind of old school, just a solid plastic little figure that came in a blind bag.
Yeah.
Loads of them to collect. Yeah, loved all that stuff. You'd imagine that something like that would have been in Kellogg's once upon a time.
Yeah.
That would have been in the cereal.
Yeah.
Or a
I haven't got any mussels in my collection. I think I might need to get a mussel. I haven't got one of them. I'll have to do some digging.
I did start. You can get some relatively cheap online. There are a couple of more rarer ones. But yeah, there's a couple of those kind of 80s lines that I kind of want to dive into quickly. Very, very quickly before we do finish up the show, you say you've got an announcement you want to make, Sorrell?
Yeah, it's just sorry to end it on a somber note, but I do just want to say, because he was a big part of the collecting community. He used to come into our live streams quite a lot as well. But Super Channel G, Vincent Gigi, sadly did pass away. Very suddenly at a very young age. He was a very cool guy. He helped me a lot when I first started, along with Glenn Webb and a few others. It's sad that we've lost him in the community. Just thoughts and prayers go out to his wife and kids. That's all I want to say.
That's so sad.
He used to come into our chat all the time, and he'd always pop in and be like, "Yo, guys!" And he never promoted his own channel. He had like 300,000 followers. He never promoted his own channel. He was always just a cool, down to earth guy.
Yeah.
And sad to see him go over Christmas. Apparently, sadly.
Oh, that is sad. That really is sad.
Yeah, there is a what do you call it? One of those like giving pages to help his wife and stuff over on his Instagram account. So if anyone wants to go check that out, please do.
Cool. No, good stuff. I'll end it on one more thing. No, actually, we'll leave it on that. Thank you very much, everyone. We do appreciate you tuning in. This was episode 188, Toys for Kids, plus London Toy Fair 2025, with me, Jacob's Toys, SuperSorrell, and Triple G. Thank you very much for joining in, for commenting along. We do appreciate you. Of course, you can check out the description of the video, go follow, share, all that kind of stuff. Support all of us. That's much appreciated. Sorrell did put in the chat as well at some point. Geek Week website's out there, and our blog element of our website is slowly starting to build up. So we're going to start dropping news on there that we're kind of finding out in between the shows. We'll be back next Sunday, of course, same time, same place. I think that's about it. You guys all right?
That's everything. Yeah.
Grand.
We'll see you next week. Till then,
Bye.
Keep it geek.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Like, share, subscribe, don't miss out.